All right, welcome to week 15 of the Power 10 Sports Talk. We finally have everyone on the show.
Woohoo!
And this week
Yeah,
it
full
is
crowd.
myself, Andrew Gibb, with the hot takes and the good jokes. Next up, to my right, we got Brandon Ravine, the man that is just full of statistics. John Sacco, the man that somehow manages to derail and keep us on track every week. The one person that has played in a high school football game, Braxton Ubel. The person that probably should be qualified to be on the show, Erin Polsey. Our soft-spoken but always accurate little man, Brady Gibb. And this week, our special guest, he is the VP at ComDoc. He graduated from Dover, initially from Kentucky. Used to play football with Percy Gardner. You can see him twice on Percy Gardner's podcast, 99 Miles Per Hour. Steve Vanhorn.
What's up, everybody?
Round of applause.
Yeah, round of applause for you. Brandon's
Thank you.
figuring out how to put
Brandon
these
throws up
emotes
the
into
emojis.
Zoom.
Coming to you from my car. Sorry about that.
It's all right. Somebody always has to do that a week. But
I've done that twice, I think.
Yeah. So with this week there being so little college football games, we decided to start it off slightly different and pick our top 5 football movies to help you fill in the time if you don't think any of the games are going to be good. I'll start with mine, and then we'll just move in the circle. So Brandon, John, Braxton, Erin, Brady, and then lastly you, Steve. First up, I got The Replacements at 1. Good classic comedy movie. It's got Keanu Reeves. Gotta love it. Next up, Remember the Titans. This has got to be in everyone's top 5. Just an overall great movie that happens to have football in it. Number 3, The Blind Side. That movie's going to make you tear up no matter what, and Coach O appears in it. Number 4, I got Invincible. It's just like Rocky, but with football, so even better. And it's got Marky Mark. Number 5, We Are Marshall. With it being the 50th anniversary, I rewatched it this year. And it is just a great movie. It'll tug at your heartstrings. And I got an honorable mention, Any Given Sunday. Got Jamie Foxx as Willie Beeman. Just a good rated R football movie for you. But yeah, that's my list. Brandon, you want to go next?
Oh yeah, I can go next. Just because we were kind of little when it came out, but the game plan I love it.
Oh,
That's great. Yeah. Also, then we got Draft Day at number 4 for me. Big Browns fan, obviously, so it was an enjoyable movie. I know it's sad that it was about the Browns, but it was a good one. Then of course you got Blindside number 3. That's always a good one. Then we got Remember the Titans at number 2. And just because Adam Sandler's hilarious, we got The Longest Yard at number 1.
all right.
Longest one.
And Sacco?
All right, so I'll count down. We Are Marshall at number 5. I love that one. Got Matthew McConaughey. I have Waterboy at 4. I have Draft Day at 3. That honestly should be higher. I love that movie. Kevin Costner's great, and it's about the Browns. So I got Jerry Maguire at 2, and Any Given Sunday at number 1.
All right.
I'm after John, right?
Yep.
All right. I'll go backwards as well. So 5, I have Blindside. It's just like you said, it's like kind of like a tearjerker. So it's a little lower on the list for me because I don't really want to cry when I'm thinking about football. Number 4, Draft Day. Big Browns guy, obviously. 3 is Rudy. I love a good underdog story. 2, I'm with Brandon, Longest Yard. It's a hilarious movie. I love it. And then 1, Remember the Titans. It's just I watched it growing up with my dad, and so it's got a sentimental value to me. It's a great movie.
All right, Erin?
So my number 5 really isn't like a yay football movie, but I like Concussion. It's based on a true story, and
Great
dude,
movie.
Will
It is a
Smith
good
kills it. My number 4 is gonna be The Longest Yard. I love a comedy. It's great. And then I like obviously a movie that is based on real life. So number 3 for me is We Are Marshall. Number 2 is Blindside, and then number 1 has to be Remember the Titans.
All right.
My number 5 is Replacements. 4 is Remember the Titans. 3 is Blindside. 2 is Waterboy, and 1 is Longest Yard. My honorable mention is Safety. It just came out yesterday.
Yeah,
On
the
Disney
Disney
Plus,
Plus
right?
movie about
Disney
Clemson.
Plus?
I just saw that.
Yeah, I believe
I
it
haven't
released
seen it yet.
yesterday.
Young man coming out with the fire.
Yeah. All right, and Steve, your top 5 football movies?
All right, I'm going to age myself with a couple of these because I'm way older than you guys, and I'm realizing that now. Too many movies. So, top 5 for me in no particular order. Although I do have a favorite. I got to list the number 1, so we'll wind down to it. Little Giants. Do you guys know what Little Giants is?
Oh,
Yeah, that one was almost on my list.
The Alka-Seltzer tablets in the mouth, and you gotta love it. So, Little Giants. We are Marshall. That's actually around where I'm from in Kentucky. Is right on that tri-state area. So,
Oh, wow.
Huntington, where Marshall resides, that's where most of my family went to school. My aunt Cindy actually was attending Marshall when that happened, and she's actually one of the extras at the end when they're all out in the yard and they're chanting "We are Marshall." She's one of the extras. Rudy, you gotta love Rudy. Who doesn't love the feel-good story?
Win-one for the
Mark
Gipper.
Wahlberg. It's the dream. Everyday guy trying out for a professional football team and making it. So you got to love Invincible. And then the best movie of all time with Julius Randle, big man Julius Randle, some strong side, left side. It's got to be Remember the Titans. And anytime I watch a movie and I think, you know what, maybe that's better, I just go back and watch Remember the Titans. And I'm quickly reminded that that is a bunch of bullcrap. Remember the Titans is not just the greatest football movie of all time, but maybe the best movie of all time. So that's my top 5.
Yeah, it is. It is up there for one of the best movies.
It's a great story. Still very relevant in 2020.
Oh yeah, a lot of these they've stood the test of time for a majority of these. That seems to be why they're so good. I remember seeing Blindside in theaters, and like I rewatched it, and I'm like, this is still such a good movie.
I remember
that
the book.
They changed his name from Ower to Moore, and
No,
I thought
it was
that
always
the
Michael Ower.
Was it? I
Moore
thought in the
movie,
movie
yeah.
they said Moore.
No,
there
they're
were a
they're
couple
from the
times
south,
with
so
the
it sounds like they're saying the wrong
pronunciation.
words.
Yeah, I would say a couple times the pronunciation was like O'Hare or something weird like that.
Yeah, but they
it was
correct
Michael
him.
Orr.
They changed it too much, though. Do you guys know the real Michael Orr story? That's why it's not in my top 5. I like the movie, but then Michael Orr came out afterwards. He was like, it really wasn't that way. I knew how to play football. I was already very good.
Oh yeah.
Into my life.
He said he didn't
Fictionalized.
love the way he was portrayed.
Yeah, he was like a dumb kid. You know, they had no idea how to play, and they had to teach him. Sandra Bullock's out there teaching him how to block. So that was all just kind of not.
Yeah.
So I like movies that are very historically accurate. If they're going to tell a true story, then tell the damn true story, right? Don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like whenever it says based on a true story, that based on means none of this is real except for the outcome. And then
50-50 at best.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So no one mentioned this though, but Radio.
That was one
classic.
that came up in the conversation.
Radio's a good one.
Honorable mention.
I like some radio.
All right, we'll get into the news real quick. Jackson He becomes the first Chinese-born player in the FBS to score a touchdown in last night's win for Arizona State, 70-7.
I'm surprised more
to
weren't
that guy.
scoring. Yeah.
It's such a big thing. Like we've seen the first woman in FBS and even in Power 5, and Jackson He becomes the first guy to score a touchdown from China in a Power 5 game. So it's kind of one of those ones wondering what could happen next.
Yeah, there's not many left, I'm sure.
Yeah, not a whole lot of barriers left to break, but still,
it's kind of crazy that it's crazy in 2020 that there are still barriers like that, though. Like, if you're good at a sport, generally, unless it's soccer, America is where you come, and it's just kind of strange that there are still
those barriers in America. Yeah,
right.
I think there's a lot more than what we're realizing, and I think 2020 being the whole COVID year and everything else, and what we're living through. I mean, there's always going to be something else, and I think it's really cool to see people like this breaking barriers first. And I don't think it's going to stop. I think we're still going to hear about these things where no one had thought about or no one had looked up. Like, this is the first person to do this, and I think it's really cool to be living in a time when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Next bit of news, LSU institutes a 1-year ban from bowl games following an NCAA investigation over players suing payments from boosters. This kind of started with the whole Odell Beckham Jr. handing $2,000 to a player after the national championship. That's what started the investigation, and they found more. But this is a self-imposed ban that they instated, which is great, but the gesture seems hollow seeing as they're 3-5. I know the NCAA adjusted the rules so they could still qualify, but it still is like, you're 3-5. It kind of be a bigger gesture if it was like, oh, you're going to go to the Sugar Bowl. Now we'll pass. We kind of did a bad thing.
3-5, and school's already bailing out of bowl games, so they picked a great year to do it because pretty much there's going to be an asterisk next to any bowl game played this year anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really not much of a penalty. I wouldn't be surprised if the NCAA comes back and still slaps some additional sanctions on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first
I don't
immediate
think it'll
reaction
be
was, I'm
nearly-
sure. Oh.
Socko, you want to go
John.
first?
Yeah, I said my immediate reaction. I'm sure the Music City Bowl is devastated.
But no, I was gonna
Idaho
say because they
Bowl.
did a self-imposed sanctions,
Mhm.
I feel like the NCAA is still gonna slap them with something, just not nearly as bad as it should be for
Yeah.
taking money. Like Chase Young himself was suspended 4 games for taking money. So like if a whole organization was doing it and they have cover up like evidence of that, it should be a lot worse than just one
just a
bowl
bowl game
game.
I
suspension.
think
Yeah.
this bowl game suspension is going to turn into maybe a fine for the school and some restrictions based on recruiting or recruiting.
Mhm.
I think
Maybe
that's
take
kind
a
of what it's gonna
scholarship
lead
away
to.
or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They might also lose some recruits because of the whole thing.
sure.
Yeah.
Not even based on any penalties. They just it's just not attractive as a recruit coming in saying you can't play bowl game next year.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
it
no,
might
they're
be
going to be
more,
Or
losing
it's-
recruits because they're 3-5 right now.
or it's more attractive. They're like, we got alumni. They're gonna slide me a few thousand after we win bowl games. I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's what I was
Let's
about to say. Yeah, it
go.
seems
True.
more
True.
attractive to me going, oh, wait, they're going to give me a hoodie with like $6,000 tucked into the hoodie pocket.
Yeah, it's right. Have you guys
Granted,
ever seen
is
He
it
Got
next
Game?
year?
He
Mhm.
Got Game. You ever seen the movie He Got Game?
Yeah.
The Ray Allen story. Jesus
Oh, yeah.
Shuttlesworth.
Yeah.
Why'd you name me Jesus, Dad? Because I wanted to give you a religious name. One of the greatest quotes
But
of a movie of all time.
Is it next year, the year that like college athletes can start getting paid and
It
everything?
is
Isn't
either
it
next year or
2020?
the
They can
year afterwards.
Profit off their own likeness.
Yeah.
That's
They're not
right. You
quite
still
getting
can't slip
paid.
them money.
Yeah. Boosters
Right,
still
but,
can't get
like,
the money, but
if
they
they
can
can
get paid.
utilize their name and go to a big market, like if they can go to a Alabama and become the dude, like they probably would get
Yeah.
way more money anyway. So
But the
Is there
thing
gonna be-
is, maybe that people say that's better for the big schools, but what about the small schools? If you
small schools.
if you're a 5-star recruit, go to an Alabama, you might be a big fish in a big pond. Wow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and people think that's better, but what if you go to a small school, big fish in a small pond? You can get all the endorsements. Right there, your talent is diluted and your marketability.
Well, like
You're
But
just
look at
one
part
of
of that.
17.
sponsored by Goodyear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is going to Akron going to still be worth more money as the big fish versus being Alabama and just being one of the many students?
Mhm.
Now, something maybe totally, I haven't looked it up, so I don't know the real answer, but if you're saying likeness, what happens when a player sells a cardboard cutout of themselves to a booster for $10,000? Is
They're
there going to be a
genius.
restriction on that?
It's their
Because
likeness.
if not, that's your likeness, and the boosters, buying your likeness, but not,
Yeah.
there's got to be a rule on that somewhere.
Well, here's the thing. I think the boosters might cash in on it more because most boosters own a business of some kind. So you could have Ray's barbecue shop in Memphis giving a likeness paycheck to some kid that goes to Tennessee, and that's how they get the money. Because then you
Mhm.
also get to benefit as a business, which you previously couldn't do. But yeah, that's about all we can cover on that. We'll move on.
Yeah.
Big Ten changed the eligibility requirements for the Big Ten championship to only require 5 wins. That means that Ohio State gets in now for the Big Ten championship.
They
next year
are a
against
lock,
Northwestern.
correct?
What was that?
Yeah.
I said they're already a lock.
Yeah,
right?
they're locked in for next week against Northwestern. Is this decision based off of the Big Ten wanting to get more sponsorship money because they can have one team make it to the playoffs? Is it a conscious
Yes.
decision going, hey, they only had to cancel one game because of their own team. They shouldn't be in
Yeah.
trouble for other teams having to cancel on them and them not being able to find a new game.
This is solely based on money.
100%.
100%. The Big Ten went, oh crap, if we don't allow Ohio State to get in this Big Ten championship, we're not going to have a team in the Final Four. And they're trying to cash in on these New Year's Six bowls and the Final Four bowls. So you know what you do is you send your best team in, you get money as Ohio State will receive their money, and then the league themselves will receive their money, and then that gets divvied up between all conference teams. So it's a no-brainer. It's money-based, it's money-driven.
All right.
100%.
Steve, your
yeah.
thoughts as somebody that isn't an Ohio State fan.
Yeah. First of all, I'm not so sure that even if Ohio State does get to a Big Ten game and slaughter whoever crap junk team they play, that they're going to get in. That they're going to get in. I mean, I like Dabo's comments this week. Can you favor them over an 11-game Florida or a 10-1 team? I personally don't think so. I mean, how can you? I mean, to me, you still have to play your way to get in. If you only play 5 or 6 games, you shouldn't be in over a team that's had to go through the grind. And I don't know how many other athletes, are on the call that went through, the grind of playing sports. But I mean, your bodies get beat up, injuries, dealing with all those different things. For a 6-game team to get the same favor as a 12 or 11 game, to me, I think it's a bunch of bull crap. I don't think that they should even be considered. But that's my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
I
nothing
do
against
hate
Ohio State.
Dabo, but I do agree with him. That's a whole month of games Ohio State missed. That's a whole month of possible upsets.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week too. Like if Florida beats Alabama, like there's no way you can't put Florida and Alabama in.
No way.
So,
No way.
and there's no way you can't put Clemson and Notre Dame in if they split the ACC championship. So like I understand that. The only thing that hurts me is the fact that they're already talking about putting A&M and Florida in above Cincinnati, and Cincinnati has done everything they possibly can to have the best season this year, and they're undefeated and they've won games and won games big.
Those two cancellations really hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they still luckily have their game next week that could possibly help them.
That's a trap, not a trap game, but they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they go out there and put on a show and blow out Tulsa drops out of the 25, they lose their top 25 win. And if they barely squeak by, maybe a touchdown, maybe 3 points, then
you
start
barely
to call
won
into question
against,
their record.
And Steve, you're totally right based on the Ohio State, only 4 games. You don't have as much tested. You haven't played as many games. The only other reason I can think of, and again, it goes back to money. You want your viewership. And if you're going to get an extra 5 million people tuning into a game, if Ohio State is playing in a Final Four game rather than Florida, you're going to put Ohio State in committee, even though it's, I agree with you that Ohio State may not be as battle tested and as proven to be in that Final Four slot. Like I just see it as a money issue.
I would be pretty upset if I was Wisconsin right now. I've been out of the playoff picture for a couple weeks now, and they were not going to do anything about it. But as soon as Ohio State's there, they're like, well, I think we need to lift this rule.
Yeah.
But I mean, Wisconsin did end up losing 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they did,
at
but
the
time, they were
Yeah.
undefeated going into Northwestern. They were
The
already
thing
out
I
of
don't
it.
get about the whole committee thing is like when it comes down to selection day, if they don't put Ohio State in, why do they have them in playing this many games? Why do they have them at the 4 spot and the 3 spot the whole year?
We'll
What
talk
do you-
about this more whenever we get to our reactions.
Yeah.
We'll try and save some of that for the end. I think we've kind of covered all of our
that
comments
also goes
about
with the
Ohio State
Cincinnati
maybe
and
getting a
Coastal
little bit too much
Carolinas.
leniency.
I mean, if you're not going to have any chance of them getting in the playoffs realistically, why even rank them at this point?
Yeah, just drop us now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it might just be for the tension to try and build up some drama around it.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Hopefully next week we get some more insight prior to the championship games. But let's get into the picks. Starting off with our first noon game, Alabama at Arkansas. We'll do the same rotation as we did for everything else. Brandon, John, Braxton, Erin, Brady, and then our special guest, Steve. First up, we got Alabama at Arkansas. This seems like such a trap game. With it being an easy win, you should really be focusing on your game next week against Florida. And it's for the conference. This game doesn't mean anything. You'll still get your championship game. But with 3 guys on your team up for the Heisman at some point or another this year, it's tough for me to be like, yeah, this could be one. And Nick Saban coaching. There is no realistic way I could see this actually becoming a trap game between Najee Harris, Mac Jones, and Devonta Smith. 3 offensive players that have all been in the Heisman talks. It's next to impossible to take them losing this. Roll Tide.
I can't believe you just said Roll Tide.
It hurts me to say it, but
like just say the Tide will win, something like that. But you cannot say that. That is
you can't play
unbelievable.
favorites.
No, I think you easily got Alabama winning this. I think Felipe Franks for Arkansas is still looking to make himself a name in NCAA football. You're playing with a pretty rough Arkansas team at 3-6 that typically sits at the bottom of the league there. But I think Arkansas is going to battle hard. It'll be a game for the first quarter, and after that, Alabama takes off.
All right.
Yeah, this is an improved Arkansas team over the Chad Morris years, but they're still not there. And when you say there's 3 Heisman contenders on offense, that's completely ignoring their phenomenal defense right now. The Nick Saban defense is always tops in the NCAA, and I don't see how Arkansas makes this a game.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said everything, so I'm just gonna say Alabama. There's not much to hit on for that.
Yeah, same. Basically, the fact that Arkansas's record is deceiving, but Alabama's Alabama, and they're gonna win.
All right.
Yeah, with Alabama playing kind of a weak schedule, it's so hard to go against them. So I'm gonna take Alabama.
All right.
Am I up?
Yep.
It's got to be Bama, man. Nick Saban doesn't fall for trap games. Look at who beats him. The people who beat him are the people who have a chance to beat him. Arkansas doesn't have a prayer. Bama all the way.
All right.
Do you think Bama covers anybody?
What was the spread?
It's their
Right
favorite
now,
by 31.
32.
32 now?
Yeah, 31.
Yeah, they'll cover.
I'll
They'll
take
cover.
that.
I'll
Yeah,
take
they'll
it.
cover.
And anybody want to put their money where the mouth is?
No, I don't have money. You're talking to a bunch of broke college students.
Well, that's a nice TV you got behind you. If you want to throw that.
Oh,
in
that's
there.
like years old at this point. All right. All right. Next up, we got Georgia at Missouri. On paper, this seems like the game you would want to scroll past. It doesn't really have a whole lot of meaning, but it's going to be a big game. These teams are only 1 game apart, and really, if Mizzou beats them, I could see them overtaking by a big leap, because now you are so much higher in the SEC. Yeah, you still are a 3-loss team, but I mean, at this point, we're seeing a lot of 3-loss teams still in the rankings, and Mizzou, if they beat Georgia, I think bumps them way higher. And statistically, these teams are almost identical, and this is going to be such a close game. But football is a game of inches, and with that, I'm going to take the Bulldogs being just a little bit better and winning this game.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good game. I think some statistics you want to look at here are on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you got 2 quarterbacks that really haven't played the greatest of football. We have 8 TDs and then 5 TDs respectively for Georgia and then Missouri. And then rushing, that's where we're going to see the game really change. If Missouri can come out hot rushing the ball, I think they have a really good shot at it. Both teams give up a lot of points. Both teams score a lot of points. I think this is going to be scored in the mid-30s, and I really think Missouri's got a shot to upset Georgia here. I'm going to go Missouri.
You're taking Missouri? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still going Georgia. This doesn't have any implications, as Andrew said, so it might be one you're tempted to not watch. But this is a Georgia team still fighting for a New Year's Six Bowl. It's not a playoff spot, but a New Year's Six Bowl, especially for this Georgia program on the outside looking in, would be a great accomplishment this season. And I think they want that.
Missouri team trying to say we're a top 25 team and we should be a top 25 team every year.
Yeah.
I still think it means more to Georgia than it does right now, than it does to Missouri right now.
The thing is with Missouri is I think they're pretenders almost. They've played 3 contenders and they've lost by 19 points at least every time. So that's not a good look. I don't know why a 3-loss team it's just because they're in the SEC, in my opinion, that they're still a top 25 team right now. They beat Arkansas by 2 points last week, 50-48. It's not a very convincing win. So I just don't think I don't think their ranking is really realistic, and I think Georgia's gonna win by a couple touchdowns.
All right.
Yeah,
Erin?
well, if you do look at the stats like Brandon was talking about, Mizzou's offense is in the 30th percentile and up in almost every category. And defensively, Georgia's pretty good though too as well. They're in the 30th percentile and up in every category except for passing defense. So, it might actually be a closer game than what you think, but I think Georgia's 2 losses are deceiving. They have Florida and Alabama as their 2 losses. 2 tough games too. They didn't really roll over in either one. So I think it might actually be a really fun game to watch as a top 25 matchup, but I'm going to go with Georgia.
Yeah, I'm going to take Georgia also. I think they've looked pretty decent this season. I think they'll come out ready to play, win, and possibly move up in the rankings.
All right.
Georgia. I'm going Georgia, baby. I think they've looked the best against Alabama of everybody that's been getting steamrolled by them. I think it was like a 2-touchdown and a field goal type spread. So I like their chances. I'm going Georgia.
All right. Brandon, looks like you're going to be the odd man out on this one.
On man out.
Okay. Someone's got to go against the grain.
Yep. All right. Next up, we got Illinois at Northwestern. Northwestern has one of the better defenses in the Big Ten this year, and that doesn't seem like it's as big of a deal as it has been in past years. But I think that this is kind of your go-ahead win and focus on Ohio State now. Just kind of go through the motions, beat Illinois. Doesn't matter if it's close or if it's by a big margin. You really got to be worried about beating Ohio State this next week. So this is also a game where they're definitely going to capitalize on an Illinois defense that gives up 450 yards a game, which really helps them get to just kind of work out the kinks, go through the motions, knock off any rust you could possibly have left for that game against Ohio State. I'm going to take the Wildcats winning this one in a pretty big margin as they try and get everything prepped for Ohio State next week.
Now, as much as you say that about Ohio State, Northwestern has to focus on this week. If they don't focus on this week and they screw things up, easily they're not in the Big Ten championship. All of a sudden you lose, you're 5-2, you lost against a pretty bad Illinois team. Like, you really got to focus on this week. That being said, though, Ohio State really needs Northwestern to come out and just shell out. They need a huge game at Northwestern to really be like, Ohio State's going to play a decent Northwestern team. Hopefully a top 12 team by then, as long as they win, and someone else loses. So I'm going Northwestern here. Northwestern's got to win big.
Yeah. Ohio State needs Northwestern to win this. If Northwestern loses to Illinois, they very likely fall out of the top 20, and they're in danger of falling out of the top 25. I think they've comfortably sit around 23 if they lose. But this is a Northwestern team that lost to Michigan State. I think it just shows that they are not usually here at the top of the Big Ten waiting for the championship game. I think, it's acceptable to trap games like these, but I still think they pull it out this week. I think Michigan State is better than Illinois by not by much, but I don't think they fall for 2 in the same season.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. I think Northwestern should realistically handle it pretty easy. Surprisingly low spread, though. It's only opened as 13.5, I think. I don't know what it is now.
Sitting right at 13.5.
So, I mean, I think they should cover that pretty easy, especially since Gibby mentioned that Illinois gives up 400 yards a game. I know Northwestern still hasn't really found their stride with their quarterback yet. They still need to improve a little bit from what I've heard. I haven't really watched them. So, I mean, with that being said, though, I still think they should at least cover the 13.5.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Northwestern too, but that's like simply because I'm biased and I need them to win and I need them to win big. I admit that I'm biased, so it's fine. I want Northwestern to crush Illinois. I would like it to be like a, 45-0 type of win.
70-7.
Yeah, listen, if
any
they can
way
do that.
Northwestern can get in the top 10, Ohio State, they are elated.
Oh yeah, I'd be pumped. And it would also bring potentially a better game to the Big Ten championship. And I'm tired of watching Ohio State play crappy games all year.
Just steamroll everybody in the Big Ten championship.
So I'm gonna take Northwestern. I think they're gonna come out hot and get a win after suffering a tough loss to Michigan State.
All right. And Steve?
I got to go with my man Brady Gibb on this one. I think I don't think they're that good, first of all, but I think that says just how bad Illinois is. I say Northwestern covers.
Yeah. And I did learn last night from a friend that I have that lives in Illinois. You're allowed to sports bet in Illinois on anything but on teams that are from Illinois. So Loyola and Illinois are the 2 teams you cannot bet on if you are sports betting. And I was just like, that seems odd that out of all the teams you could bet on, the 2 that are near your hometown that you'd want to bet on, you can't.
That is weird.
But yeah,
that is strange.
So next up, we got Utah at Colorado. Last time these teams faced off, Colorado lost to the then number 6 Utes 45-15 last season. I think this year the tables will turn and we will see Colorado come out as the winners this year. Both teams look quite similar on defense with yards allowed and turnovers. Utah having 2 more interceptions. Both QBs are throwing around the same percentage, around 63%, both having 4 interceptions and under 5 touchdowns. That's not really good. This is going to come down to who has the better run game today. And I think Colorado has that in this game. Give me the Buffaloes winning this one in a nail biter.
I agree with the nail biter thing. I think this is going to be a really close game. I mean, the spread right now, they have it as 2.5. I think it's going to be a game of who turns the ball over less and who has the ball in the last 2 minutes. I really think this Utah team is scrapping, and I think that could be a dangerous thing for Colorado. I'm going to go Utah here with the upset. I don't know if it's really an upset, but I guess you're going in against a top 25 team at their home place. So, let's go Utah.
I think I'm going to take Colorado. As you said, this is a 45-15 win. I think Colorado's looking for a revenge game. They're going to put the pedal to the floor from the jump. They want to run up that score. They're 4-0 sitting at 21 right now. And I think it's ridiculous, and I'm sure they do too. And they want to prove that they may be they should be higher than they are.
I think Utah's a team that, similar to Notre Dame losing a game every year, I think Utah's a team that you can count on to win one game that's not expected every year. So I think I'm going to go with Brandon. I'm going to take Utah over them today.
All right.
Brandon stole my point. My point was whoever can hold on to the ball longer and not make turnovers is going to win, because both quarterbacks are averaging like more interceptions than touchdowns. I think
either
Colorado's
even
might
or
be
under.
equal. Yeah. So like whoever can take advantage of the mistakes is going to win. That being said, defensively, I think Colorado is looking a little bit better. So I think I'm going to go with Colorado too.
All right.
Thank you, Erin. I was waiting for that. Okay, I think it'll be a very close game, but I think Colorado will just look better this year, and I'm going to take Colorado.
All right, Steve?
If I lived in Illinois, I'd bet on this game because I think Terrace Lang is a stud. I love their defense in Colorado. I think they're highly underrated. I actually think they're probably a top 10 caliber team, and I think they beat the crap out of the Utes. So I'm going to say they cover by at least 2 touchdowns. I think it's going to be a bit of a blowout.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
Love me some Colorado.
I love the confidence.
Love me some Colorado.
I love the confidence.
All right. So we finally got 2 people deviating from the norm. And next up, we got the Army-Navy game, highly anticipated every year. This is going to be the first time this is played at home for Army in 77 years.
Wow.
Which is an amazing odd stat. Just due to COVID, they had to move it. But the big thing about this game, besides the cool uniforms and the history behind it, these teams have no pass game. Like none. I think they're both double digits in turnovers. Army has more options, at least in the run game. That's the thing. They have 4 running backs that are over 300 yards, and that's going to be your key to success. While Navy does have one sturdy running back that has, I think, around 600 yards this year, you got to have options, and Army has that. I think this is going to be a blowout in Army's favor. They have an amazing rush defense, so you get to shut down the one thing that Navy's been successful at. I think this is going to be a real big win for the Black Knights. Army wins it, not in a blank, but it's definitely going to be a big spread on this.
Yeah, this could be a really ugly game. and an ugly game that could be kind of good to watch. Like
ugly in the bad way. Like whenever you see a car running on the highway and you got to look over and stare at it.
Exactly. Sometimes 2 of the ugliest teams can make the best of games. And I think this could be a testament to that. So we'll see. I think Army's got this in the bag, but I think Navy will make it interesting. It might be one to really tune into and just kind of watch and see the car accident, I guess you could call it.
This is always such a fun game to watch because it's 2 of the most unorthodox teams in college football right now. It's only triple options, quadruple options. It's options coming out of everywhere. And I think that's beautiful. It's just also a rivalry game. It's fun to watch, and the sportsmanship between these two teams, between the service academies, it's just what football should be about.
Yeah.
I think Army takes this one. Navy has not looked good this year. And I think that they have a common opponent in Cincinnati, and I think Army played them better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I like about this game every year is it could either be a 45-40 game or it could be a 10-7 game. You just don't know with this type of offense, like you said. So, I mean, I'm leaning towards a more high-scoring game this year just for the sake of watching it. I hope for a fun game. So I'm going to take Army by a couple touchdowns.
All right.
Yeah, Army has a really good defense this year, so I'm going with Army to begin with. Like, I think that they're gonna win, but I think their biggest downfall is ball protection. They've had a lot of turnovers this year, so if Navy can capitalize on that, they don't necessarily have a great defense this year, but if they can capitalize on it, then I think Navy has this one. But Army's defense is what's selling me on Army right now.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Army. I just think that Navy hasn't looked the greatest this year, and I'm gonna call it. It's gonna be 28-10, Army.
All right.
Hey,
I'm gonna put that in the spreadsheet, and if it is not 28-10, I'm not giving you the
No, no.
win. no, don't do that.
But if it is 28-10, then we'll give you the props.
Yeah, see if it
If
does
it is
hit, then
28-10,
I'll
we'll
give you
give you-
double points. How about that?
Hey, Brandon,
Double or
you can
nothing.
find out what the most passing yards from Army quarterback is.
No, still.
What's up?
I still get it.
All right, Steve, you want to give your pick on this?
I'm going to go Army. I have my father-in-law and a couple of close friends are Army guys. They got the better record. They're playing at home, which I know that's not as important this year. But I'm not going to ruin Christmas by picking Navy against my Army buddies and family. So I'm going Army.
Smart move. You gotta protect your Christmas here. All right, next up we got UNC at Miami. If I had to pick any game to watch today, it's this one. You are going to see two very good teams matching up. UNC has scratched and clawed and dug their way back from that unranked spot they had after 2 3-point losses in October against unranked opponents that knocked them out of the top 25. Miami, on the other hand, is coming off of a certified ass kicking of Duke, 48-0. And there's no other way to say it, but yeah, this is going to be a very close game. I think that Miami and UNC have been very dynamic on offense. And defensively, this isn't the same Miami we've seen in years past. It's still a good one, but it is definitely not the turnover chain kind of stuff we've been seeing in past years. I think Sam Howell is going to take advantage of the fact that they aren't the same Miami defense they have been in years past, and is going to win this one in a knockdown, beat them out, close as you could be kind of game. I'm going to take the Tar Heels winning this one in my upset.
I can't disagree with any of those. I think this is really going to be a good game. I think this is the game of the week for sure. Just tuning in and watching a good one. Now we talked about the Army-Navy game being a good game because of two ugly teams. This is going to be a good game because they're two really good teams. Really hoping to get a top 10 spot and really trying to get one of the primetime New Year's Six bowls. I think this could be, one of the best games of the week for sure, if not the best. I really want to lead toward UNC with this win. I know they're the underdog right now. Miami has a 67.9% chance of winning, according to ESPN, the FPI. So hard to go either way. I think if Miami wins, they really solidify themselves to be one of those last chance teams in, depending on losses. And if you're, UNC, this win puts you in the top 10. I'm really going to go with Miami here against my gut, but I think it's right.
All right.
I'm going Miami. I cannot see North Carolina, even with the win, as a top 10 team. I don't think they deserve 17 right now. They're 3 losses. There's a whole lot of good 1-loss, 2-loss teams behind them.
All right.
But I think Miami is underrated as of now. They have 1 loss to Clemson, and they have some very good, convincing wins. And at 10 behind a 2-loss Georgia, that's surprising. And I think they can use this game to leapfrog them.
All right.
Yeah, North Carolina's having a really weird season in terms of they're just like scraping the barrel, whether they win or lose. It's just always a grinded out win or loss. Like you said, they lost 2 games by 3 points. They played Notre Dame tough 2 weeks ago, and they kind of had like a cakewalk last week, so that didn't really help much. But I think they're kind of overrated in an aspect of being ranked 17 with 3 losses because they don't really have a statement win. But seeing as how they've overcame and fought every game and somehow found a way to win or lost by very few points, and basing it off of how they played against Notre Dame, I think they're going to beat Miami today.
All right.
My heart is telling me to go with North Carolina because I won an upset, and my head is telling me to go with Miami because statistically they're the better team. So I'm going to go with stats and go with Miami. But I do think North Carolina's been a team all year that has played to the level of their opponent. They don't play the same each week. They always they fluctuate. They're up and down. So I think this is going to be a really good game because they're going to play to the level of Miami this week. But I think Miami's going to pull it out in the end.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you, Erin. I think Miami. Well, I think they'll win. I think they're gonna try and secure and move up in the rankings, and I think they'll come on ready from the start and get the win.
All right.
I'm just thinking about what are those Pringles up on your fridge there, Braxton? I'm kind of hungry, and now I'm seeing those, and it's kind of got me distracted. You're on mute. The official phrase.
Fruity Dino Bites.
Fruity Dino Bites, dude. Text me your address. I'm on my way. Sounds delicious. But, well, for this particular game, other than the food conversation, I don't think there's going to be a lot of defense play, which is fun. That's why you guys all want to watch the game, right? Because everybody loves high-scoring games. So in like a 72-45 affair, I think it's going to be Miami. Love Sam Howell. I think he's a stud. The dude can ball. But at the end of the day, Miami at least tries to play defense. They got a great defensive coordinator, so they're making an attempt. They're constantly getting better. I don't think UNC even cares. They never have, they never will. So they're just going to let them score 70. So my pick, Miami.
All right.
Hey, Andrew, I'm going to have to get off right now. So I'm going to rapid fire some picks right now.
All right.
All right, so you got Coastal and Troy. I'm going Coastal. Oklahoma State and Baylor. I'm going to go Oklahoma State, Wisconsin, and Iowa. I think I'm going to go Iowa. LSU of Florida. UCLA, USC, and San Diego State, BYU. Did I go? Is that all of them?
Yeah. I'm putting them in the spreadsheet now to make sure I got them.
And
that was good.
Did I not pick a single upset?
No, you did not. So
Well, I guess not picking an upset is also picking an upset.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
Picking against.
That's deep.
All right, John. Sorry you have to go.
All
Thanks
right.
for being on this week.
It's been a good week. Yep. I'll see you next week.
All right. All right. So we'll get into the rest of the games. Next up, we got Wisconsin at Iowa. Wisconsin has not looked good in their past 2 games against ranked Indiana and Northwestern. And I think that this week is going to be the same issue. They're not going to look pretty whenever they do this. Graham Mertz has not had that amazing year everyone projected he would have, but he's still playing great. He's just not playing to that level that I think everyone expected him to. I think their run game is doing him no favors. Whenever you have to do pass heavy, we're even seeing that in the NFL with Ben Roethlisberger having to just constantly throw the ball. Your arm gets tired, you start making mistakes. But the Badgers' saving grace in this matchup is having a defense that is so good at stopping the rush, and Iowa being their big move is the rush game. So in this scenario, I think that Iowa wins it in a real close game. I know they are favored by 2 points over a ranked Iowa, but I'm going to take the Badgers win in this one.
So that's one thing that I saw is that the Badgers are currently the favorite here. Yeah. Which is just kind of mind-blowing. I really think Iowa's going to go put up big numbers against Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't have anything to go for anymore. If you're Iowa, you're really you're vying for a decent bowl game this year and saying, hey, guess what? The Big Ten's not just about Wisconsin and Ohio State, and Michigan. So I think Iowa's really got a good fighting chance here to make this a good game. I'm going to go Iowa big here by 21, I think.
All right.
That's one thing about Iowa. Every year is like they're not going to have the athletes on the field, that your other Big Ten teams have, and they're disrespected every year. But the one thing they show every game is that they can compete, and they are tough, and they grind out wins. So I think I'm going to go with Iowa as well. And I don't know if it's going to be by a lot, but I think they're going to cover. I think they're going to cover in the opposite direction, I should say, at least by 3.
All right.
Yeah,
Erin?
I'm going with Iowa too. Brandon keeps stealing all of my talking points. So yeah, I think that Iowa has a better reason to win. I kind of feel like Wisconsin's almost given up on this season and has just started preparing and looking at next year because they know that they can't get to the Big Ten championship or really even like a great bowl game. So yeah, I'm going with Iowa.
All right.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Iowa. I would have taken Graham Mertz as the Heisman a couple weeks ago, but I don't think he's slowed down. I don't think he's performing as he should be right now. So that's why I think Iowa is going to get the big one this week.
All right.
I'm going Iowa too, man. This is a game I don't know a lot about. I haven't followed either of these teams very well this year. And I know that the NCAA invests a lot of money in creating these polls, and they're ranked and the other team isn't. So I'm gonna go Iowa.
All right. So next up, we have Coastal Carolina at Troy. I would like to say, I told you guys that Coastal was going to win it last week. Everyone betted against me. Coastal ended up winning it in the last second. Gracie McCall has just, this is a game, pad your stats before you got to play the Raging Cajuns. Just kind of make everyone look good, knock off any rust. You're at 13 now. Celebrate that. Keep winning big. Keep just being electric with it, having fun while you're playing, which I think is the thing that these guys have honed in on, is they know at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying the game, you're not going to play good, and they are just having the most fun they can in each and every game. I'm going to take the Chanticleers win in this one. Big, hammer it home. My camera just shook there, but I'm going to take Coastal winning this one big.
So I like Coastal winning this one as well. The only thing I have against Coastal is sometimes they remind me of old Miami teams where they can get a little dirty. And I really I'm buying for the small guys. I love to see it. You know, it's just like the UMBC thing. It's just like a few Loyola or some of these small schools winning big games. But man, don't mark yourselves the enemy. Don't be so dirty or ruthless that you make yourselves look like you're the bad guys. I really want to see Coastal win this, but hopefully they clean up their act a little bit. We got Coastal winning.
All right.
Yeah, there's not much to hit on. It's kind of a boring game. I'm just going to say Coastal and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Coastal too. But I think to the point of being ruthless that Brandon was talking about, that's the only way they're going to get respect from the public and people who vote and do the rankings and all of that, simply because they are such a small school and they aren't playing super competitive, really high ranking teams, so that they have to step on their throat the whole time. But I love watching them play.
They haven't done anything worthy of ejection, so you're right about that. They're not playing that. I guess dirty might not be the wrong.
That the push against
they're
Zach
a little
Wilson
too
last week just didn't
aggressive.
seem great.
Right, they're a little too aggressive, but at the same time, if they're not playing the best teams, they have to be super aggressive to get the respect and the idea that that people can view them playing against the SEC, the Big Ten, ACC type of teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where you're coming from, Brandon. I definitely get it, but I'm going with the Brotherhood. I'm going with the Chanticleers.
All right.
I'm going with Coastal Carolina. I think they're going to come out ready to play, move on to that Sun Belt Championship, and beat the Cajuns.
All right. And Steve?
I love Coastal Carolina, man, for all the reasons Brandon just said he doesn't. They're gritty, they're dirty, they do all the bad stuff. And the last time I heard, my main man official Brandon Ravine over here describing that kind of attitude from someone was when I was coaching my son's 10U baseball team last year. That's how he described me at the end of the game. So, it's all good. At the end of the day, you got to get that W. And if you do it with a little bit of chip on your shoulder, I'm good with it. I love it. I think you need it. So I'd rather see that than a team that comes out flat and doesn't play to the echo of the whistle, right? Echo of the whistle, Brandon. Echo of the whistle.
Yeah.
All right. Taking Coastal across the board. Next up, we got LSU at Florida. Trask is currently my front runner for the Heisman, second to Mac Jones in second place. But this game is just for the Gators to work out those last bit of kinks before you have to play the number one Alabama. And I know every week you have to be kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to be the team that beats Alabama, even though more likely you won't be. I think Florida might have a realistic chance of beating Alabama. Thing is, you have to make sure you make no mistakes. You can't be giving up easy holding penalties or offsides, making those simple mistakes. This is your week. Make sure everyone is locked in, ready to go. Knock out any sort of rust you have in play calling, in your tackling form, in your passing form, in your rushing or handoffs. Make sure everything is streamlined and good to go, and hope that you can knock off Alabama next week. So I'm going to take the Gators and give you the Gator Trump again. Go Florida.
So my thinking here, as a football fan, I want to see the Gators win because I want to see them put up a friggin' fight against Alabama and really make the committee think on who their top 4 teams should be. This Florida team is serious, and this is the most serious team they've had since Tim Tebow. So I really think this is a Florida team that you want to see win, and you want to make the committee's job really tough this year. On the Ohio State fan side of me, I want to see Florida lose because that cements Ohio State getting in as a top 4 team potentially, because I don't see how they put in Texas A&M. But, as a football fan, as an Ohio State fan, I don't know which way I really want to lean. I know which way I do want to lean as Ohio State. But as a football fan, I'm going to go Florida here. I'm going to see Florida win big here and then put up a fight against Bama. And they do not have to win against Alabama to make it. They just have to make it a game.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say it simply. I think LSU kind of sucks.
You're not wrong.
So I think Florida's gonna handle them pretty easily.
Just keeping it real.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat as Brandon. Again, I want Florida to win because I think it'd be the better game in the end, but I want LSU to win because I want Ohio State to win. But yeah, I think Florida's got this one easy. Like Braxton said, the eternal words, LSU sucks. So Florida's got this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Trask will come out in his Heisman form, carry the Gators to the win. Florida, W.
All right.
I agree. It's going to be Florida, but that pains me because Ed Orgeron is my second favorite NCAA football coach behind Dabo. I love them Southern coaches, man. I love how fiery they are.
They're
And
great.
I can't understand a damn word he says after the game. I love every second of it. But I know whatever he's saying, it gets those guys fired up. So despite the fact that they sucked this year, they had a bad recruiting year. I think they gave up with some of their self-imposed sanctions or whatever. There was a lot of other cover. I'm going to go with Florida, but I still love my man Ed Orgeron. Make no mistake about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Coach O. Every time I listen to that post game talk, I'm like, I have no clue what he's talking about. Could be about crawdads and beignets. I have no clue, but it's just entertaining to try and piece it together.
It's like its own language down there.
It is. That video or photo, whatever it was, of him jogging was.
Oh my gosh, yeah, in his interview. Yeah, he worked on a shrimping boat when he gets the call from Arkansas to be the strength coach, and I'm like, yeah, that's about what I picture from Coach O.
He reminds me of the one coach in the Water Boy.
Oh yeah, wear the bibs.
We live on another day. We live on another day.
Just don't even
All right.
understand them.
So next up is another standout coach with Oklahoma State at Baylor. Oklahoma State has looked iffy in 2 of their past 3 games, losing to TCU and Oklahoma. Not a great look, really hurts it. And luckily for Oklahoma State, they get to play the second worst team in the Big 12, so you do get that. So hopefully we'll see the Mullet get another win in the books this year. And nobody say anything about Chuba Hubbard going off this week, because every time we say it, it doesn't happen. So I'm going to take the Cowboys winning this one, and a pretty close win. Go Cowboys.
I think Chubb is going to run for 1,000 yards.
Stop it. Stop.
No, he doesn't even play anymore.
Oh.
He's a bench warmer.
All right, Brandon.
It's hard to go against Oklahoma State this year. I mean, Baylor just not looking good. They haven't looked good all year. I'm going to keep this short. We're going to go Oklahoma State.
All right.
You know what, Gib? I'm gonna say it. Chuba Hubbard is gonna have a huge game, and Oklahoma State is gonna roll for victory.
Oh,
That's Chuba Hubbard, though.
Dude, he's like as good as I am.
yeah, that ain't much.
Pretty good.
Oh,
Hey, for a third string running back, I mean, don't count me out. He did have 8 yards one time.
I'm sorry, that was awesome.
They caught me off guard with that one.
Brady,
Hey,
you just made
one
me
carry
so
for 8
happy.
yards. That's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I had a 12-yard game against Steubenville last year.
Nice. Listen,
And
that's 12 more yards than I've ever had in
I
my
was
career.
listening.
How many carries? That's the important. How many
Uh,
carries?
2.
12.
hey,
Well, listen, 6 a carry, dude. I'll take that.
absolutely.
First
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, that's
First
some
down.
Heisman numbers right there.
If you would have said like 16 carries, then you probably just want to leave that one in the closet, Brady. You don't want to bring that up, Just, we won't talk about it. But 2 for 12, man, that's good. Do you like Nick Chubb material, Kareem Hunt? Just don't start kicking people.
Where's my scholarship at?
I would like to say,
don't pick anybody.
Steve is really like kind of putting targets on everybody's back. I would like to point out that this man did go viral on YouTube for some couples photos where they had the
Oh,
80s
no.
theme. Oh, I got them pulled up and they're going to be in the video.
No, I don't think
Oh.
they should be.
Oh, with that wonderful mustache.
Share your
Oh,
screen. Share your screen.
That was
I
that
got
was
it on
actually
my phone,
different.
sadly,
That was
but,
a different Steve Vanhorn. That was a different
That is
Steve
the
Vanhorn.
man right there. Went viral on Yahoo. Oh, I got told this by my father. He's like, "Oh, don't not bring that up."
Yeah. Michael Strahan actually covered it on Good Morning America.
How about that? We got somebody. He's been on Good Morning America.
Really?
Percy
He
ain't
did. He
nothing
covered it.
now.
He said from Dover, Ohio, we have a modern day Goldberg. And it was like 4 years ago because we were married 14 years this upcoming year. So that was for our 10-year anniversary. We decided to do that photo
my
shoot. Next thing you
goodness.
know, it was like it received over 100 million views, got shared, went all over the place. We were getting calls from XM radio to do live radio interviews. Channel 5 News from Cleveland came down and sat in our house and did a story on it. We're like, this is crazy. We had no idea it was going to turn out to be what it was.
All right.
Yeah, it was nuts.
So
Yeah.
we'll get back into the picks. Braxton, who are you taking in that game? Oklahoma State, Baylor.
Oklahoma State.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going with Oklahoma State too. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of overranked and overappreciated this year. I just haven't been very impressed by them, but I think they get the win easy over Baylor.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I really think Chuba Hubbard's going to give his 12 yards, maybe negative. You don't know yet. Maybe be a bench warmer, but I think Oklahoma State's going to come on and get the win. Why does my computer keep turning off?
All
I just
right.
want to know. I want to know what Chuba Hubbard did to hurt Brady Gibb. Jeez, man.
He has done nothing to hurt us, but every week at least one of us has said Chuba Hubbard will go off this week, and then he put
Gotcha.
up maybe like 70, 80 yards.
All right. Well, I'm going to go Oklahoma State unless the Baylor Bears can find a way to strap some pads back on my man RG3. I don't think they got a chance. So we're going to go Oklahoma State.
String every year. So.
Yeah. All right. So we're on to our last games now. We got USC at UCLA. This is one of my favorite rivalries after Ohio State, Michigan, where they both get to wear the home jerseys. And that's just something cool. I wish Ohio State would adopt it, but I doubt that's going to happen. It's their tradition. We should keep it to them. But this looks to be a very important game. If USC loses it, they're out of the Pac-12 championship and any hopes of getting a decent bowl game, really. And UCLA has a winning record for the first time under Chip Kelly if they win this game. And that is so big for both teams. I think Kelly has that in mind going, this is going to be my first time I have a winning season with this team. That might help him as a coach and as a coach for the team and getting an extension on his contract. But USC's lack of run game is made up for with their great QB, Kendon Slovis, who is looking how Sam Darnold did whenever he was at USC. You can decide on your own if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No,
But,
he's terrible.
He is very much looking like how Sam Darnold did at his time with USC.
Yeah, this is Sam Darnold. Throw the ball.
Yeah,
at the
well, he was
ground.
good in college, all right? So was Mark Sanchez. But
Well, he also had a butt fumble, so we're not going to talk about that
Yeah.
either.
all right, but yeah, this Kendon Slovis is looking very much a great quarterback at USC, and we know how that turns out if you go to the NFL. I'm going to take the Trojans winning this one in their very tight rivalry game. Go USC.
So this is going to be a game. We got USC, who's a very passing dominated team, and then you got UCLA, which is a run dominant team. That's going to be a really cool thing to watch. Two totally different teams going at it. I think this one is really going to be a good game. 7:30 night game. Everyone loves this rivalry for some reason or another, and I think it's going to be a good one to watch. The only issue I have with watching this one late is that we got the Columbus Crew on tonight.
Sure.
In the
Yeah.
MLS Cup. So that one's really struggle for me, but I'm going to watch the Crew. But I think you got USC winning this one because they really want a chance at a good bowl game.
Yeah.
I think more or less than UCLA wants a chance to upset them.
All right.
So common opponents indicate that it is going to be a close game. Arizona State still with only one win. I think that was their first win last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They
made it a
like
big
sat
win.
out.
Yeah,
They
they
sat
only
out
lost,
multiple times because of COVID. So.
yeah, and they only lost by 1 to USC week 1.
And they shouldn't have. I'm still on that band.
Yeah, I agree. And then UCLA beat Arizona State by 7. So it's looking like it's going to be a game that's going to be right down to the wire of covering the spread. So I think I'm going to go with the favorite and go with USC.
All right.
Yep. Braxton took like basically everything I was going to say. But here, I'll pull a Brandon and pull up some stats. So offensively, USC's passing offense is 17th in the nation, and UCLA's passing defense is 62nd. But then on the flip side of that, UCLA's rushing offense is 16th in the nation, and USC's rushing defense is 55th. So it's really going to be all on the defense this week. Whichever defense can step up the passing or rushing defense is who's going to win. This is going to be my upset, but I think that's slightly because I'm just really not into USC this year, and I think that they're like overranked because they really haven't won very big this year. I don't know. I'm just not into them. I'm not into them, and that's me. But yeah, I'm going with UCLA.
I'm going to take USC. Sadly, that the Jets really like USC quarterbacks such as Mark Sanchez and Sam Darnold, which are very, very.
Slovis is in trouble already.
I'm not going to talk about that. All right, but I think it'll be a close game. Both teams will have the same amount of they average about the same amount of points and yards per game. But I think USC being ranked, I think it'll give them positive advantage.
All right.
Good call. I'm going to go with UCLA, man. I think in a close games, I always look at the coaches more than the players. And I think Chip Kelly's crafty. I know his craftiness didn't translate to the NFL, but in college, you go back to his Oregon days, man. The guy knows how to win close games. He's always got something up his sleeve. So I think in a game like this, if it's close in the fourth quarter, I think he finds a way to pull it out. So I'm going UCLA.
All right. And our final game is San Diego State at BYU. This has got to be just BYU's rebound game. You lose very close to Coastal last week, and now you get San Diego State. Zach Wilson's probably going to show up big, try and put up really big numbers, help his Heisman case in this game. I'm going to take the Mormons winning this one big. There's not a whole lot of talking points. BYU has played a lot of nobodies this year, and this is just another one of the nobodies on the resume. So give me BYU winning this one in a big win, just trying to get back up in those talks after that loss last week.
All right, Brent, I'm going to cut you off real quick because I'm on 1%. So I just got to say my pick and I got to go.
Right.
So I'm just going to go with BYU. I think they're going to have a bounce back game and prove they're still worthy of being ranked.
All right.
BYU.
My
See you, Braxton.
Bye.
All right.
And there were 5.
I was gonna say that.
I was gonna say that too. Last time Brandon and I said it at the same time, and no one commented on it, and I laughed so hard.
There was some breaking news, so gotta wait.
What was the breaking news here?
It was a Florida player collapses on court.
Oh boy, yeah.
Basketball wise?
Keontae Johnson, has been taken to Tallahassee Hospital after collapsing while walking to the sideline Saturday's game. So
That's not good.
keep him in your minds and thoughts and your prayers if you're religious. Hopefully nothing's wrong. He's able to make a full recovery. But let's get back into the picks. It's kind of tough after hearing that. But Erin, I guess you're up now, or Brandon, you're up.
I'll keep it quick. BYU is going to win this
Alright.
one. I don't think San Diego State has a chance in whatever you want to call it. This is a late game. So if you're a night owl, want to watch something before you go to bed, right here's your game.
All right.
Yep, I'm going with BYU as well. I'm annoyed that they didn't win last week. Made me look bad. But I think Zach Wilson's pretty legit. So
He is. He's got 2,900 yards this year and 27 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He's legit.
And
he's pretty good. And I don't know why he was taken out of Heisman talks this week, all because his team lost. And it was a
I
good
think
game
it
last week.
is you finally saw him play his second team that was ranked, and he did lose. So it's kind of one of those ones. Are all of these stats off of cupcake games, and he's not the real deal? And that is part of the conversation. I do think that he probably should be in the Heisman talks for the stats alone because they are so astounding. But it does take a hit whenever you had 2 big games, you won one, you lost one.
But a quarterback can't lose a game or win a game.
It takes
by
a team to
themselves.
lose, yeah. But a last-second interception where the game is on the line, it's on you as a quarterback to make the good pass, and you don't get it.
But it's not on you to call the play. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just think that he should be in Heisman talks, and he was pulled out this week for some reason, which whatever. Anyway, BYU. Moving on.
All right.
All right, and I don't know why you're mad, but I think Coastal's just better. So let's take BYU. I think that they'll come back ready to play after a tough, very tough loss to Coastal Carolina. I think they'll win big.
Listen,
All
I'm
right.
not one to argue with somebody averaging 6 yards a carry, so I'm going to go with Brady Gibbs' call, BYU.
All right. Brady seems to the more these shows go on, be getting
I
more
had
and more
12
confident.
yards and 1 carry.
Brady's getting more and more confident in all of his choices too, and I freaking love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's just because I have to pick better than Andrew. So
Yeah, you're 3 games ahead of me, and I think he sees the games I pick. He asked me before the show, and he just copies my pick so he can stay ahead.
Oh no, I've had all these games before.
I don't
So
know.
then
I
how
don't
do
know.
we-
It seems kind of sketchy. He gets a little bit ahead of me.
Music,
And I
picking my
talked to him
picks.
before the show, and then all of a sudden, all of our picks are near the same.
Hey, we
Yeah,
had
I
some of
know.
them different.
I think he's trying to copy my picks so he can just stay right above me.
Emma, listen to me.
Trying to
Oh,
put
not your
my own
girlfriend.
girlfriend
Dang.
against me. That's low, even for you.
Dang.
All right, we'll get to the
Alrighty,
poll
hey,
news
we
and then
have
we'll
some
end the
reactions, right?
Yes.
show.
Alright.
Only big news in the poll: Coastal moves up 5 spots after beating BYU. I think Ohio State and Cincy are going to move down this week after not playing. It's just something that's going to happen. Raging Cajuns are set up for a huge jump, going from, I think they're 21. If they beat Coastal next week, who's 13, I could see them taking that 13 spot and jumping 8 spots. I do think UNC, Texas, Oklahoma State, NC State, and Mizzou might be slightly overranked because they are 3-loss teams that are Power 5 ahead of some teams that are Group of 5 teams with 1 or no losses. And it does seem like the committee is starting to slip back into old ways, taking Power 5 schools over Group of 5 just because they're Power 5. Doesn't matter what the records are, they're Power 5, they deserve a higher rank, and the exceptions being Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati. These are teams that are doing very well, and they're finally getting recognized for it. Everyone else doing slightly worse than them, but gets way less credit than a 3-loss UNC or a 3-loss Texas. And also, one big complaint I have, how is 1-loss BYU below 3-loss UNC? It's just something that seems odd.
I was going to say that.
Because they play
I
nobody.
completely-
Yeah, I know they're playing nobodies, but they have the stats, they have the wins. I don't see
but
how you can give a
Coastal's
team
just better.
with 2 more losses. Yeah, they may have been close losses. It's still a loss. It's just something that seems a little fishy. It might be that Power 5 bias. Who knows?
One
That's
thing
also
I
how I
really
feel about
hope-
Iowa State and Cincinnati. I'm still annoyed that Iowa State is above Cincinnati with 2 losses. There shouldn't be 1 2-loss team ahead of them.
Yeah, that is something that's a little odd.
Okay, so if Florida beats Alabama. Would that make Notre Dame number 1, Clemson, and then Alabama 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4? So would that mean Notre Dame will play Ohio State in the playoffs?
2 plays 3,
2 plays 3? Oh, okay.
and 1
never
plays
mind.
4. So if anything, Ohio State would then play Notre Dame. Alabama would play Clemson.
Which I think that would
My
be a good
only-
playoff.
My only thing with the playoff is if Florida wins, I don't see them
Keeping Ohio State around, yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's not it. I don't see them doing like Alabama and Florida 1 and 4 and Clemson Notre Dame.
Yeah, essentially
2
getting
and
a
3. They
repeat
have to
of
switch
games
it
you just had a
somehow.
week prior.
Right, because like if Clemson and Notre Dame split, so if Notre Dame loses and Alabama loses, that's 1 and 2 both lose, so they technically both should drop. So that would make Clemson 1. Would you move Alabama 2, Notre Dame to 3, and then Florida to 4? Or because Florida 1, would you move them up to 3? It just, I don't know. I wouldn't
It's
want to see
odd.
another
Yeah.
for the semifinal games.
All I gotta say is how Ohio State's gonna win the championship, so no doubts.
All right. Brandon, any comments?
My only thing here is that there should be an 18 playoff.
Yeah.
I agree.
That would solve a lot of issues here.
I agree.
I think Brady had some good points there, and you
Yeah.
know, I got to ride his wave.
Steve, any comments?
I hope it's not the Buckeyes, man. I think if Florida wins, I think they got to bump them. I really do. I think that they earn it. I think
agree.
that they proved
Yeah.
the test of time. And I mean, my only other thought was, I hear that, mental health and all these other challenges for the kids and having swabs shoved up their nose every week is really starting to become a drain on them. So I think, for as far as upsets this year, I think it's a really unique year. You just don't know week to week. I mean, you're one stud player being quarantined or, developing COVID and having to stay out of a game away from a major, major upset. I mean, if Alabama loses their Heisman candidate quarterback next week, are they all of a sudden the favorite?
Well, they still have a Heisman
against Florida?
candidate running back and a Heisman candidate wide receiver.
Somebody's still got to hand them the ball, right? And you never know. Maybe it could be a
Right.
situation, like Tua, where they come in and they're a freaking stud. You just never know. But my point being, it definitely sways the odds greatly. So it's a unique year because, we've seen it in the NFL. All of a sudden, a team comes in and they're missing their star player, a couple players, and all of a sudden the odds swing real quick, and the Vegas books will reflect that. So it's a pretty interesting
Right.
year for any sport, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
absolutely.
even like not even studs, like chemistry and leadership is really big, especially in college sports. Like those 5th-year seniors who may have only played 1 or 2 snaps in their whole career, like those guys really do mean a lot to the team and morale. So if they're out, that could also really affect a game too.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
I just want to say Tua is not good at all.
He was in college.
He wasn't
Yo,
going.
Brady is being
he
so
is-
controversial today.
He is showing up in Miami right now. Until something else
Yeah,
happens,
man.
I would say he's
Fitz is
being the
better.
guy.
I like Fitz too, man. I like the beard. I think he should have been the guy, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking college now, Brady.
Yeah.
College.
Hey,
I'm not
Fitz
talking
would
about
look good with a
practice.
mullet, though.
Yeah. Not talking about practice.
He doesn't know
man.
what practice is.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about
We're
practice.
talking about
Come on, Brady.
practice.
Talking about practice. Talking about the games.
Well, I think Fitzy would look good with the flow back here.
Oh, a little bit of head lettuce hanging out the back of the helmet.
Yeah.
Good
I
lettuce.
think he'd have to shorten the beard a little bit if he goes for the
no.
full mullet. look.
No, keep the beard, leave
Keep
the
that
mullet.
full homeless
everything.
man beard he has.
I
He's
love it.
greatest
The way it
quarterback, better than Tom Brady.
Can't even see his chin strap half the time. It just kind of gets lost up in there.
He's just
I
got
love
food
it.
crumbs he's eating throughout the game in that
Brady's
beard.
making me die.
Got a
yeah.
couple goldfish just hanging out, and they just plucks them out, eats them, snaps the ball.
Why not?
If
Why
I could have a
not?
beard that nice, I'd be
Hopefully
hiding food in
smelling
it.
salts in there.
He's actually running a side
I
gig
wonder
now
if we
that
could
he
hide a
lost his,
whole Wendy's burger in there.
He died at White. He's actually playing Santa Claus down south since he lost his job. He's picking up some side cash.
He's got to be mall Santa now.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. He's like
Alright,
He's
bad
gonna be the
Santa.
Santa Claus from the Elf.
There you
Can
go.
I say something real quick before we finish today?
Yeah.
It has been today 3,303 days since the last time Michigan beat Ohio State.
Oh, that's
and we're
a
going to
nice-
add another 365 onto that since Michigan decided to sit out this week.
Yeah.
Sorry, just had to throw that in there.
All right. We're gonna end the show in a sec. Good luck to the Columbus Crew tonight as they possibly play their last. They will be playing their last game in Matt Free Stadium. Hoping they bring back a championship before they move. So cheer on the Crew tonight.
What a
Hope you
fitting
enjoyed
way
the
would that
show.
be?
Yeah.
That
Remember
would be
to
amazing.
like, comment, subscribe, share the post on YouTube, follow us on Twitter to get notified when it goes live. Thank everybody that comes in every week to watch us. We appreciate it so much. It let us know
Thanks,
that we're doing a
Dad.
good job. I looked recently. We are getting more views than Percy Gardner's podcast. We are bigger than Percy Gardner around here, and that's something I think we should all be proud of.
Have you seen Percy recently? He's getting
Oh, he was on the show
pretty
last
big.
week. He only made it for about 10 picks, went 7-3.
Oh, I thought you meant physically big. Like Percy eats a lot. So my bad.
Oh, he
my
does
bad.
that. Yeah,
there
I
you
got a
go.
picture of
You
him on
know,
my
we could
phone. He's
all
getting a little
stand on
big.
each other's shoulders and be the same
I'm
size
just
as
teasing
Percy.
you.
You know,
I'm just,
we're really tall.
if Percy's watching right now, buddy, I'm teasing. Don't start puking up your food or something. I'm
Yeah.
just joking.
Yeah,
Just
Steve
joking.
is Percy's old boss, so
Hey, but we do have donuts downstairs if you want some.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nope.
I'll
Well,
be
he
right
just
over.
left Dunkin' Donuts.
Don't tease me, Brady. I'll do it.
Don't tell Brendan that. Remember, he used to be fat. He might come here.
Okay,
Well,
y'all are being mean now. We need to stop
Oh, I
bullying
love
people.
fat Brandon. He was
No,
my
no,
favorite
no, no,
person to be
no.
around.
Brandon's not fat anymore, so it's okay to tease
Yeah.
him now about.
He's
Brandon, did
post
you
fat.
ever get any blocks as goalie? Like bounce right off your stomach?
No, I just got sucked in. We had to
I
get a new game ball.
Brady, I don't think you watch much soccer, buddy. You're not supposed to use your stomach as a goalie.
Well, maybe his
Right,
hands
in the
were
off
short.
chance you
Maybe he
gotta,
was like a
fall and
T-Rex.
wrap.
Maybe he was like a
Yeah.
T-Rex.
If the ball's hitting your belly, you're probably not a very good.
Just
goalie.
hit his
I'm
belly
just gonna
button,
say
just
that.
suctioned on. Just
But Salem
Yeah.
Cooper Gibby.
Yeah.
all right. Thank you everybody for tuning in. That is our show. Really appreciate it every week.